To many people in Kenya, 25th December was a normal Christmas day, but it was also the birth of Emmanuel Erastus Otieno, popularly known as Flaqo, who was born at the Aga Khan Hospital in Kisumu County to a pretty young couple at the time. This was their first child, so you can imagine the excitement they had. However, how does young Flaqo, aspiring to be a neurosurgeon, come to be among the best comedians in Kenya?
Our guest today is so special.
Flaqo?
Who is Flaqo?
And he's one of the funniest people on the internet.
Nimesema hiyo jina mpaka siku hizi siwezi kusema. Ni Erastus Otieno.
From a very young age, Erastus Otieno was a very smart kid, and he started off his primary education at Pinocchio Primary School. Yeah, just like the cartoon. Although he stayed there up to class 3, he then joined Xaverian Primary School, which is among the oldest schools in Kenya. In Xaverian, the young Erastus was not a joke. He became a prefect, was a top performer, and was aiming to become a neurosurgeon. Upon finishing his primary education, he aced the national exams, then got called at St. Mary's Yala High School. High school was nowhere close to slowing down Erastus. His dreams were still intact, and his work ethic was leading him pretty well. Although, on the second year in high school, things started to change. He felt the urge to try out something new. He would still focus on his studies, but he wanted to explore more. He noted that his classmates were joining extra activities like sports, drama, and music, and since sports was not his thing, he gave drama a try. Erastus was excited on his new venture, but this excitement would come to be short-lived. On his first play, Erastus was given a role he found unattractive. He was made to play as a dog. The next, he was made to play as fire. Now these were not the expectations that Erastus had, so he got fed up, then quit drama. Erastus still had options, so he got into music. He was not good at music, so regularly he got into rap battles with his schoolmates, and gradually he started improving and his interest grew in the art. Erastus also had a very interesting habit, which came to be noticed by his high schoolmates. He was constantly polishing his shoes, and with that, his mates nicknamed him Flaqo. Flaqo is a word that means skinny in Spanish, but in his school, the word meant the clean boy. Erastus did not like this name because he found the real meaning behind the word being unappealing. However, later on when he joined campus at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University, he embraced the name Flaqo and fully delved in his passion in music. Flaqo looked up to August Alsina as a musician, so he got into the creation of R&B music. Unfortunately, this pursuit of music was about to be hugely tested. You see, in his second year in campus, there happened an event where Flaqo was among the musicians who were to entertain the audience. And the audience was a majority of students who were really hyped and buzzed up. Flaqo took the mic and steadily approached the stage. He took a big breath and started singing an R&B song. To his horror, the crowd didn't like the song, and they started going him off and throwing bottles at him. Flaqo was traumatized. The audience had completely ripped him off. It was not what he expected on his first performance. This day gave him stage fright, which he now has up to this day. That memory really got to him, and from second year, he got quiet and focused on completing his degree in public health. When Flaqo got into music, it planted a seed in him. This seed will come to be the passion of being an entertainer. Although this is not what Flaqo's parents had signed up for. His parents wanted him to be a doctor, because in a typical African family, you either become a doctor, a pilot, or an engineer. And if you don't achieve any of this, at least be a teacher. Despite all that, Flaqo was still stubborn and he wanted to entertain. Especially now that he had come across entertaining vines he had seen on the Vine app, from creators like Bach, Kenny Knox, and Dope Island. The vines made him laugh, and he soon found an interest in the art. So in August 2018, Flaqo was done with his degree in public health, and the next step he took was leaving his parents' house. Flaqo saw that the music industry was extremely crowded at the time. There were upcoming artists all over, all of them extremely talented. So now his only way to the top will be comedy. Flaqo would come across comedy content from Kenyan creators like Crazy Kenyan and Mulamo. It inspired him to see young creators do pretty well for themselves. He also came to notice that he enjoyed the comedy skits since he would easily relate with what he was seeing. So Flaqo got to work. He thought of an idea that almost every Kenyan can relate with, and Kenyan moms was a good place to start. He had the perfect example in his life, Mama Otis. The Mama Otis character was a majority of his mother and a little side of his aunt. But Flaqo did not have a camera. All he had was a cheap phone that had a low quality camera. But he still went on with it. Now despite this, his videos were really funny and people around his place in Kisumu liked them and started sharing his videos around. Flaqo's mother was still not at peace with this and would occasionally tell his son, "Why are you doing these things? You look like a cartoon." But that was the point to Flaqo. He wanted to entertain people. Now apparently, she wasn't the only one against comedian Flaqo. Flaqo's girlfriend was also fed up. The guy is still broke and busy making fun of himself. So he actually told him that, "I'm tired of this upcoming stuff," and she was gone. Things were now not good for Flaqo. Yes, he was getting famous around his area, but it still wasn't enough. And now his close circle was not supportive of him. Shockingly, this acted as a motivator to him. He now badly wanted to prove them wrong. On this specific day, Flaqo tried out something different from the Mama Otis content. He took up his phone and tried recording himself imitating Peter Griffin, which wasn't coming out right. His brother then told him, "You know, you actually sound more of Khaligraph Jones," and it struck a great idea. Flaqo was already good at imitating Bahati and a little bit of Ekodida. So with his newfound voice of Khaligraph, he set up a scene where he played as Khaligraph praying. This was only a trial for him, but it went past expectations. People loved it. So the video started circulating on all social media platforms. And before he could get his head around it, Flaqo was already famous. Flaqo had gotten famous quite fast. Everything was new to him, but generally things were good. So Flaqo started planning his journey to the big city and the land of opportunities, Nairobi. He was so positive that things would work out, and it was evident because now it was known that Flaqo would be recognized by fans everywhere. But unfortunately, 3 days later, reality started to kick in. Flaqo was indeed famous, but his pockets were still empty. When you're famous, people expect you to live lavishly. So when Flaqo would be seen in matatus and in cheap hotels, people would critique him. Flaqo thought people loved him for who he was, but now, it was dawning on him that there were still more expectations. Flaqo did not know what to do, so he started searching online for other celebrities that have been in the same situation. And what he found shocked him. He saw that he was so unprepared for this, so back in Kisumu, he went. Flaqo continued pushing his videos with every chance he could get internet bundles. And even better, he started bringing in his main idea of Mama Otis, since he now had a better platform. Mama Otis blew up even bigger, and now Flaqo's audience was getting huge on platforms like Instagram and YouTube. The calligraph imitation video alone brought in 10,000 followers in his IG account. He was now a year ahead, but there was still one part he had not accomplished: making money. Nobody was contacting him for deals. Even worse, he could see his peers online succeeding and making huge steps. Once again, Flaqo was in deep thoughts and even started thinking that maybe I'm cursed. However, all this misery will be changed by a phone call Flaqo got at 3 a.m. early in the morning. It was 3 a.m. and Flaqo got one of the weirdest phone calls. The timing already was weird, and the caller was Brenda Jones, a YouTuber and comedian in Kenya. Flaqo and Brenda talked for a while, but the crazy thing is that Flaqo has never talked to or even met Brenda Jones before in his life. Apparently, Brenda told Flaqo that she kinda knew what he was thinking and how he felt. and specifically she said, "Mark my words, Flaqo, companies will soon be fighting for your work." And this is something Flaqo needed, some motivation and a little hope to keep him moving. And guys, Brenda was right. Companies started seeking Flaqo to the point of overwhelming him. It was call after call. Now Flaqo was on the verge of hitting the money jackpot. Flaqo was now doing pretty well for himself. Money was constantly coming in, so he started even making improvements. You see, initially, Flaqo was doing his shooting, editing, and posting. But now, he could afford to maintain a team and make things run more smoothly. Flaqo had a vision, and he wanted to go big. By now, he had reduced his dependency on imitation videos and had developed his original idea. Apart from Mama Otis, Flaqo brought in new characters like Baba Otis, who is a combination of his father's character, his principal's voice, and his uncle's linguistics. 2 more characters were brought in, Akoth, sister to Otis, and Uncle Bakari. All of these characters performed by one guy, Flaqo. Around 2021, Flaqo was on a big deal with Safaricom. He was producing a show called The Authentics. This was a show Flaqo wanted to use to tell the African story. More often, media from developed countries showcase Africa to be in a worse state than the reality. So Flaqo took up the initiative to disapprove the idea. However, the Authentics show demanded of Flaqo to perform 10 different characters, each having different temperatures, for 3 straight days. Flaqo was good at what he was doing, but even this was too much for him. You see, in acting, when you take up another character that is not you, it will have psychological effects. That is why actors normally need the time to de-roll and get back to their normal self. Now imagine the effect 10 different characters will have on the brain. And of course Flaqo was not different. He's still human, and there were post effects after completing the show. He would constantly get anxiety, get moody, and even confused. He was not his normal self. And to make matters worse, more trouble was waiting to pounce on him. Social media. No matter who you are, apparently not everyone will like you. And Flaqo's haters were now getting onto him. Apart from comedy, Flaqo had started producing his own music, and some people encouraged him while others were critical of it. You might get a million likes, but if you're mentally unprepared, those 2 negative comments can bring your dreams crashing to the ground, and this is almost what happened. The only way Flaqo could survive this was getting off social media, which he did, and probably not many people noticed his absence online. His account will have some posts, but that was not him behind that. And this break Flaqo took really helped him, because on his return, he came back with a bang. He brought up a new series known as The Saturday Pill, went on to produce animations for his content, and is still growing his skills in music. I guess Russell Eric Dodba was not wrong when he said taking a break can lead to breakthroughs. So that brings us to the end of Flaqo's story. It's a great honor and appreciation for you reaching this far. Leaving a like too will be hugely appreciated. It does help out. And before I sign off, get to watch the story of how crazy Kenyan rose to fame. And with that, peace out.